तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
We take up another piece of literature from this book today. It is not exactly a poem. It is a letter to the Earl of Chesterfield. We'll first listen to the letter.
Letter to the Earl of Chesterfield. To the Right Honourable the Earl of Chesterfield, February 7, 1755. My Lord, I have been lately informed by the proprietor of the World that 2 papers in which my dictionary is recommended to the public were written by your Lordship. To be so distinguished is an honour which, being very little accustomed to favours from the great, I know not well how to receive or in what terms to acknowledge. When upon some slight encouragement I first visited your Lordship, I was overpowered like the rest of mankind by the enchantment of your address, and could not forbear to wish that I might boast myself le vainqueur du vainqueur de la terre, that I might obtain that regard for which I saw the world contending. But I found my attendants so little encouraged that neither pride nor modesty would suffer me to continue it. When I had once addressed your Lordship in public, I had exhausted all the art of pleasing which a retired and uncourtly scholar can possess. I had done all that I could, and no man is well pleased to have his all neglected, be it ever so little. 7 years, my Lord, have now passed since I waited in your outward rooms, or was repulsed from your door, during which time I have been pushing on my work through difficulties of which it is useless to complain, and have brought it at last to the verge of publication without one act of assistance, one word of encouragement, or one smile of favour. Such treatment I did not expect, for I never had a patron before. The shepherd in Virgil grew at last acquainted with love and found him a native of the rocks. Is not a patron, my Lord, one who looks with unconcern on a man struggling for life in the water, and when he has reached ground, encumbers him with help? The notice which you have been pleased to take of my labours, had it been early, had been kind. But it has been delayed till I am indifferent and cannot enjoy it, till I am solitary and cannot impart it, till I am known and do not want it. I hope it is no very cynical asperity not to confess obligations where no benefit has been received, or to be unwilling that the public should consider me as owing to a patron which Providence has enabled me to do for myself. Having carried on my work thus far with so little obligation to any favourer of learning, I shall not be disappointed, though I should conclude it, if less be possible with less. For I have been long wakened from that dream of hope in which I once boasted myself with so much exultation. My Lord, your Lordship's most humble, most obedient servant, Sam Johnson.
This alone is not a poem but a letter that has been included in this Select English Poems. It is a letter written by the great Samuel Johnson, and we need to understand the background of this letter, and that is the essential aspect here. Samuel Johnson is a great literary genius, and he was commissioned to bring out dictionary. He is the first person to bring out English dictionary. Thanks to Samuel Johnson, that everybody is now able to understand this language, which is there in spoken in many countries in this world, sort of like a universal language it has become, sort of, I am saying. And all this is due to the works of great people like Samuel Johnson. Now all these works, which are extremely hard work based on great thinking, research and various effort that you need to put in, you need actually the support of others in terms of patronage. And this is the universal law. That is why even in the traditional Varna system, a person who is supposed to be a true Brahmin has the right to seek donations, because if he is dedicated to doing introverted activities in terms of what is for the welfare of the whole society, for the whole world, he needs to be taken care of, obviously. Forget about even a Brahmin, a person who is doing a scientific research, a person who is like a poet, because these are things that does not come with trying and hard work. That momentary inspiration and other thing comes because of a great tapas from inside. And such people need to be generally taken care of in terms of their basic needs, and if that is not there, and that is how it is designed. That is how it is designed. One who is doing extroverted activities, work, earning money, all these things, it is his obligation to support those who are given the talent, like what Milton said in the previous poem, that that the talent is there within him. If he is not given the proper and conducive atmosphere, the loss is just not his, the loss is of the entire societies, the entire this thing. So there have been patrons, and that is why you will find even in India, kings we used to encourage poets. In Bhojaraja's kingdom, there were great poets were there, like that, Krishna Devaraya's court, and these people encourage scholars, poets, and because if they are able to take care of the basic needs, then their talent and their brains and their thinking is available at a higher level. Otherwise, if they have to make both the ends meet and their work is only going to do for that, that is not really fair, and eventually it affects everybody. That is why even in the modern context, when you see that great Swami Chinmayananda is there, our Swamiji is there, various gurus are there, they must be left alone to read, research, write, speak and inspire public. That is what they are supposed to do. If he has to run from pillar to post to collect funds and build the mission and build this thing, then you will not get the full output of that Swamiji or Swami Chinmayananda or any great master for that matter. So therefore, whoever is the patron, whoever is capable, they must come forward to look after the temple or look after the place of these people, like that it is, so that they are able to build a ecosystem which is again giving back to the society. That is how it is. And even in England, it was like that, and very many people were sort of these patrons. But in turn, when they give the resources and other things for such persons to do their research or write poetry or whatever they are supposed to do, they have to dedicate the entire work to them. This is like an unwritten rule that was in those days. And the funds that were allotted to Samuel Johnson for compiling the dictionary, and the amount, the time in which he was supposed to finish was supposed within 2-3 years, something like that. It was in 1747 or something like that, it was commissioned. And then somebody suggested, this Earl of Chesterfield is there, he is also like one of the patrons, you must approach him, he will be definitely willing to help you, and with his resources the work can be done faster and you will have much more comfort, like that they had recommended. And he was happy to take the help of the Earl of Chesterfield. And that Earl was a very smooth talking and a nice way he encouraged Samuel Johnson when he met him first. He said, don't worry, I am there, you carry on with the work, I will provide everything like that and all. And probably it might be expected that this dictionary that is being produced is oblated to him or something like that also, which is also fine. I mean, that is nothing wrong. When I say nothing wrong, it is at a different level that he operates, which is also okay. As long as he had been true to his words and did whatever he was supposed to do. Even in fact, selfishly, if he is getting name, fame, that is doesn't matter. At least the public is getting a dictionary. At least that is being produced for the sake of the literary world or for people at large. He might have done that. He should have done that. And he had the resources. He belonged to that category. And therefore, he was supposed to do. But what happened was, after that initial talking with Samuel Johnson, the Earl did not do anything as per what he said. Daily, probably this Samuel Johnson would go. He was not allowed to meet at all. So that's why he says outward rooms and nothing. He was repulsed, and nothing was happening. And wherever he got a chance, he tried to praise. He tried to win the favor. He tried to remind him everything. He tried, but nothing worked. Literally nothing worked, and in and through, therefore, all the difficulties, Samuel Johnson was carrying along with the work. And instead of 2 years, it took 7 years or whatever. And through hard work, now it is on the verge of publication. And once this Earl came to know about this, he wrote 2 letters to the news journal called The World, recommending the dictionary to the public. And from the proprietors of the news journal, Samuel Johnson came to know that the letters have been written by the Earl of Chesterfield. And this infuriated him. And that is how it should be. This is a rightful anger. It should be. And then he thought this sort of a thing has to be exposed. And that is his duty. See, it might be born out of his passion and emotion, which is understandable, but this needs to be done. For the sake of the society, for the sake of the world, this needs to be done. He needs to be exposed. So he writes a scathing letter, and then he makes that letter public also. And that is this famous letter to the Earl of Chesterfield. This revolutionized or made drastic changes in the literary world and in England in that point of time as to how patronage was to be looked. It is said that this letter is glorified as declaration of independence. In other words, those who are doing great work like this, they were not independent. They have to sort of do their work for the sake of the patron, and the patron will take care of their basic needs. Like that it was. But here all the shackles were broken, and as though there was no need for the patron, or his role is very limited or anything into the overall scheme of things. That way a great independence was given to such people who are doing this type of great work. So this particular letter, which we read even after more than 250 years, is considered as a declaration of independence on behalf of all the literary genius at that point of time. It is still valued treasure to the English literature. And you will see the tone of Samuel Johnson throughout this letter, how sarcastically he begins and slowly builds up, and he sort of finishes him off throughout towards the end of the letter, like that it is. To the Right Honorable the Earl of Chesterfield. We are going to see maybe a couple of this thing later. This word, I am reminded of that, honorable, it's going to come in Mark Antony's oration. When he says honorable, actually he is meaning the opposite. But the king, earls, dukes, they are all addressed as honorable. Now also he is an honorable governor, honorable chief minister, like that it is. So to the Right Honorable the Earl of Chesterfield. February 7, 1755. How many years? 45 plus 21. 266 years. Like that it is. It's still holding a great value today. My lord, I have been lately informed by the proprietor of the World. World is the newspaper or the news magazine. The two papers in which my dictionary is recommended to the public were written by your lordship. So I was informed like this. To be so distinguished, he is very sarcastically saying, to be so distinguished because Earl himself has mentioned me, like that. So to be so distinguished is an honor, which being very little accustomed to favors from the great, I know not how well to receive or in what terms to acknowledge. Since I do not have any experience of taking favors from the great people, I really do not know how to receive this honor from you. So very starting sentence itself is sort of what to say, is the Earl is clean gold, like that it is. Which very being very little accustomed, because I am not accustomed to taking favors from the great at all. I know not well how to receive or in what terms to acknowledge. Then he goes to the flashback as to what happened. When upon some slight encouragement, somebody had told him, and therefore he went to him. When upon some slight encouragement, I first visited your lordship, I was overpowered, like the rest of mankind, by the enchantment of your address. There are some people like this who has this capability and capacity that in the public they will talk very big like this, and the one who has sought and gone to help and you are meeting them for the first time, you are in awe of them. Like that it is. So it was the same feeling that I also had when I met you about 7 years back. Like the rest of the mankind, by the enchantment of your address, and could not forbear to wish that I might boast myself, le vainqueur du vainqueur de la terre. That means, in French it means, I am the conqueror of the world. When I came to you and I heard your address and I saw that encouragement from you, I thought it is done. The dictionary work is done. I am the conqueror of the world. That means everybody is under your control and you are helping me. Therefore, I felt that I am the conqueror of the world. That is what I felt. That I might obtain that regard for which I saw the world contending. Everybody was wanting to get that favor from you, but you have chosen me. And that was a great moment of honor and pride, I thought. And I had that, kick, that I had that feeling. But I found my attendance so little encouraged that neither pride nor modesty would suffer me to continue. Suffer means allow. Very interesting line. He says, neither pride nor modesty would suffer me to continue. Modesty is understandable, that he is in the position of the giver and I am in the position of the receiver as far as the patronage is concerned. So I have to be humble, I have to be modest. But how much modest? How much? So it has gone to such an extent that modesty will not want me to continue association with you. But why pride? Pride of doing this work. There's a great pride involved in bringing out the dictionary. It's a great work. It's a great noble job for the society, for the world itself. So at least for that sake, I should continue, or at least from the position's sake, modesty. No, I found my attendance so little encouraged that neither pride nor modesty would suffer me to continue it. When I had once addressed your lordship in public, I had exhausted all the art of pleasing which a retired and uncourtly scholar can possess. Very pitiable, very sorry you have to feel. It is just not words here. How much of feeling he had, you have to understand that you go out of the way and please a person and what is known as the stuti and all you do because your project is dependent on them. This is how it happens. I mean, this is the factual reality of the world. He said, I had exhausted all the art of pleasing. Whatever, he himself is a great man of language, words, everything. And all the things he used on Earl of Chesterfield and everything got exhausted. And how a retired and uncourtly scholar can possess, a retired person who is dependent on somebody, or a person who is not having that culture, how low he will stoop to do. Like that I did. I had done all that I could. And no man is well pleased to have his all neglected, be it ever so little. You may think however small it is, but I did my best, completely I did everything. Nobody will be really happy to see that all their requests are neglected. So that was the feeling that I went through. So I did everything that I could. You may think it is big or small, I do not know, but all my resources were exhausted, and no man is well pleased to have his all neglected, be it ever so little. 7 years, my lord, now have now passed since I waited in your outward rooms or was repulsed from your door, during which time I have been pushing on my work through difficulties of which it is useless to complain. See, either sometimes I was turned away politely, or I was asked to wait. You wait here, appointment, you come in, you wait here. He will come, he is in a meeting, or he will do. And inside what he does and all, we do not know, but at the end, they may not be able to meet at all. Like that it is. How many times we also, experience this in small ways during our meetings with people and all. It is not a very easy feeling, but for a cause you need to do. But that is how. But this treatment is not expected. This is from our angle. You may say it's a sadhana. It is your karma yoga. You do whatever it is. But from that other person's point of view, from the patron's point of view, it is extremely wrong. It is extremely a very demeaning behavior. 7 years he has been doing like this. So either he was in the outward room or he was repulsed, during which time what he did, but he was patiently struggling and continuing his work, and that is the hallmark of a genius. A genius is defined, at least our Swamiji defines as one who has got intelligence and industry, which is a rare combination. Those who are brilliant, those who are wise, those who see something and they can by heart something and they know left, right, everything, you usually find they are not extremely hardworking. And those who are extremely hardworking and industrious are not blessed with intelligence. Those who do both, that's a genius. Very rare are those people. And we see this, that he has not therefore given up hope or given up anything. He has been doing what he is supposed to do, which is through all the difficulties. And if you look at the life of any poet or any scientist or any person who is doing this inward research and other thing, because his energies and resources are not meant to do work and earn money. That is not what he is meant for. Not only that, their inclination will not be like that. Even great poets and saints like Tukaram and other things, he just cannot work. It is not that he did not want to protect his family. Even when he went to a sugarcane field to take care of it there, like a darwan there or a guard there, he would not be able to do that job. He will be only thinking of Panduranga and doing, and that is what is the and if but for Tukaram, we would have lost all the great songs and the bhakti, and that is what he is meant to provide for the society. How can that person be working and working for building a house and other thing? That is how it is designed, and therefore you have to go through that. And those who are supposed to do that, that is their good fortune, we can say, that is their duty, we can say, that they must do it actually. And that is how, if you carefully analyze our Indian society function, those who are supposed to, even now the business community, you see, I'm just taking it for the sake of example, Marwaris or Chettiars in the south, they are the people who are still may give donations to all causes and like this, and they may do business, and that is what their talent is. That is what their Swadharma means. They have to do that, and that is their spirituality. That is their sadhana. And one who is supposed to do this, he is supposed to do this. That is how it is designed. Okay. A lion will kill the prey, and fox will have to steal from it and eat it. That's how the animal kingdom is designed. Like that. It might be a wrong example when I say steal, but each and everybody has to function according to their swadharma. That is the point. So he has been not bogged down in and through all these things. He is maintaining the inspiration to do that work, which is a very great work of bringing out the dictionary, of which he is saying it is useless to complain now. So that means he has sort of forgotten it and he was not wanting to do. But why is he writing this letter now? Because this letter is written, the public face that the Earl of Chesterfield shows now is as though he has been supportive of this. So that person needs to be exposed for the sake of society. Not only that, it might be that he is wanting the dictionary to be oblated to him now. We really do not know. Whatever be the case, this is not the right thing, and therefore that right anger he expresses is in the very right way, positive way. Maybe not personal, we do not know, but there may be a personal element to it, but there's a lot of impersonal attitude also there in this mind of Samuel Johnson. of which it is useless to complain, and have brought at last to the verge of publication without one act of assistance, one word of encouragement, or one smile of favor. Not even, I'm there, man, don't worry, it will be done. I may not be able to help you now. Carry on with it. Like that, even a word of encouragement was not there. One smile was not there. Not even one act of assistance was there. You referred me to somebody or tell somebody else to help. Nothing like that was there. Such treatment I did not expect, for I never had a patron before. I did not expect, I did not know, because I never had if I had known about patrons before, probably I would have been prepared, or I would not have come to you. I did not expect, because I never had a patron before. The shepherd and Virgil grew at last acquainted with love and found him a native of the rocks. He is referring to the eclogue poems, which are pastoral village poems written in Latin 2000 years ago. Virgil is the poet, and he is talking about sad poems coming out of the mouth of a shepherd, I think named Manor or something, who is personifying love, who was wanting love, who was waiting for love. Ultimately, he found that love as a native of rocks means a heartless person. That's when he understood what love is. That means there's no such thing. He never understood what love is. He never got that emotion of love. Exactly that same parallel he is saying now, that he was expecting that help. He was expecting that patronage. He was expecting that emotional connection to his work from this Earl, but he did not get that. So he is recalling that parallel. The shepherd and Virgil grew at last acquainted with love and found him a native of rocks. Now the tone changes, and he is stepping up the tirade against him. Is not a patron, my lord, who looks with unconcern on a man struggling for life in water, and when he has reached ground, encompass him with help. Is that a patron? That in the struggling, when a man is struggling in the water, he is watching happily from the shore, and when he himself has struggled and come to shore, you go and embrace him and give him a towel or like that. Is that a patron? The notice which you had been pleased to take of my labors, had it been early, had been kind. If you had even just taken off my labor little early, it would have been really kind for me. But it has been delayed till I am indifferent. That is why in the Sattvic Dhanam also it says, Deshe Kale Patre. Whatever donation, whatever help you need to do, it has to be done at the right time, to the right person in the right place. If it is not done, later you may give 10 times that money, but when he doesn't need it, what type of donation it is? It is no. When that he wants to now submit the exam fees, he is not having that. Now you give that 100 rupees at that point of time. That is the most valuable thing that you can do. So it has to be at the right place and at the right time. But it is completely delayed now, and this also is doing for the sake of maybe lip service. Okay. But it has been delayed till I am indifferent. Now I am not bothered about it, or I have completely taken my thoughts away from you. I am indifferent, and therefore I cannot enjoy it. However nicely and even genuinely, if you had written that letter also, I just cannot enjoy it. Till I am solitary and cannot impart it. Samuel Johnson's wife died in 1752, in between all this work. So he lost that support also, with whom he can share, with whom he can pass on all these things, emotional companionship, that is not there. Therefore he says, I am solitary now and I cannot impart it. Who is there for me to share my happiness therewith? Till I am known and I do not need it. I don't want it now. I am known already. Your recommendation is not required now. I hope it no very cynical asperity not to confess obligations where no benefit has been received, or to be unwilling that public should consider me as owing to a patron which Providence has enabled me to do for myself. Underline that sentence, Providence has enabled me. So if you look at this letter from a personal angle, it is as though he is affected deeply and all the outpouring of his emotions is coming out, which may be true also. But in and through, he has not forgotten this. See, he says, I am not in any way obliged to thank you at all, because it is not a cynical asperity, it is not a pessimistic or rude or roughness that I am showing, because you just don't deserve it and I have not got anything. Why should I do it? Why at all? To all the things that are to be done has been done long back and nothing has come out of it. So why it should be done now? Not to confess obligations. That alone is not from the personal angle. You may say, why? Just say a thank you and get into all those things, man. You need not get into all this fight with him. No, it is not like that. People must understand where it is due, it has to be done, and why he says that is, who has helped him to do it? Providence. Which providence? See, that is what it is. There is a divinity that shapes our ends, says Shakespeare. Okay, instead of 2 years, it could have taken 5 years. It doesn't matter. But always just keep your inspiration going. Whatever your mind is filled with that inspiration, keep that work doing. How and when and where the help will come, we do not know. But it will come and the work will continue. Because it is, you are in alignment. Your will is in alignment with his will. It's a great thing that a dictionary has to be brought out. Such a noble thing. So why will that work not get completed? So that is what is the deep thought, and therefore this letter has now gained a great value when he says, public should not consider me as owing to you, a patron, which the providence has enabled me to do for myself. It is the divinity that has helped me. And then he concludes, having carried on my work thus far, with so little obligation to any favorer of learning, okay, I shall not be disappointed though I should conclude it, if less be possible with less. Again, underline this in like in poem, this is not given in italics, but these two are very inspiring for us in this, where he says, which providence has enabled me to do for myself, and then the next line is, if less be possible with less. This must be your attitude. Always great things in the world start with a great Ganga will flow from a small trickle in the Gomukh or Gangotri there. Every great job is to be, you only rely on the power of the Atma within. Suppose for getting things done, you think in terms of building a big building, big trust, and bringing big people into that for the name of it. I am not saying it is wrong or right, but if you do it without turning to the Atma within, that is not going to succeed at all. And you will go through all the problem that Samuel Johnson also went through. So, do not worry about always reformation, big things, from law has to change this. Always start from your near and dear and your surroundings and take that first few steps, small steps, and small things, let it be done. Even today when we talk about climate change warriors, and all these activists and all over the world, they are talking United Nations should go, this rule has to be, all those things will not work. And who got the Padma Shri this time? Timmakka from Karnataka, and I forgot another lady who is 105 years old from Tamil Nadu, Papamma. And what did they do throughout their life? They planted the trees around their village, that's all. And they must be the heroes. They are the real climate activists and environmentalists. What did they do? They planted small trees around their village, their roads, they nurtured it, and today it might be like a forest. All that was done. Who? Did they call any NGO? Did they ask for Padma Shri? Did they ask government to help? Nothing. They did their part. This is so inspiring if you understand this line. Do not, in grammarian's funeral also that line comes, this little man seeks the things to do, sees it and does it. That great man, that big man, I forgot. There he says, you see a small thing to do, you see it and do it, and that is what your hundreds will soon hit. If you are able to understand that from this angle, there's a great interpretation. If less be possible with less. Just act on small things. You do your part, you do your notes, you study, and you teach a few people. How were the Upanishads passed on? Till today, how Upanishads are there? They did not build an auditorium, call all the people, we have to blast the whole world with this knowledge of Upanishads. No, 4 people were sitting in some banks of Ganga or Kaveri, and they were discussing Brahma Vichara among themselves. That's all it is. It is small things, small inspirations, these things like this, a small academy here, a small thing there, that will eventually grow. See, whether it grows or not, that's not the concern. This is how the changes are made, this is how revolutions are being brought about, and you be satisfied in doing. That does not mean that you must not dream big or something. The spirit in you is very big, but your dependency is on the spirit itself, which is the Atma within. That is the greatest power, not on the external thing, divorced from the inner thing. If less be possible with less, why? for I have been long awakened from the dream of hope in which I once boasted myself with so much exultation. Again, he finishes with a great sarcasm. My Lord, your Lordship's most humble, most obedient servant, Samuel Johnson. Probably he tears apart Earl of Chesterfield like this. And what really is their relationship and how they reconcile later and all, we do not know. But that is the message and the power that is conveyed in this letter. We'll just finish with Swamiji's commentary here.
Samuel Johnson was a literary genius. He published the first English dictionary. While preparing the dictionary, he was introduced to the Earl of Chesterfield to patronize its publication. The Earl offered to help, but for 7 years did nothing to support Johnson. However, Johnson managed to publish the dictionary on his own. Having heard of its publication, Chesterfield rushed articles to the newspaper The World, recommending the dictionary to the public. Johnson was humiliated by the Lord's indifference and vanity. It was then that he wrote this famous letter, a valuable contribution to English literature.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate.